Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. It has been a minute since I've done a live stream. I even forgot to put my light on for the camera. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? I think I haven't done a live stream since before the Champions League final. I know we don't talk about that game anymore. So it's been more than a month. It's been not because I don't want to, it's because I've had issues with my laptop. My laptop is kind of starting to give up on me. And it's like, I don't know how long it's going to last for today. It's going to start to, maybe you start seeing me lag in the live stream. So that's when I'll probably have to call it. So I'm going to have to be really quick. I think it can give me probably about 20-30 minutes. And after that, I think it starts to overheat. So I'm going to have to be very, very quick in this, not the usual 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour live long streams. But let me give a quick shout out to everyone in the house before we get into a culture band. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're having a good summer, keeping well, you and your family, and health wise. Tambir, you too as well. No, not yet. Tambir, it's going to take a while. It's going to take longer for me to get a job than that. But thank you for the positive words. Eduardo, what final? Don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. What am I talking about? It's just a little mirage in my head that never existed. Porta Inter says pain. Yeah, we have to talk. I think this is the last time maybe we can mention this season, the season of disappointments, a season of potentially on the line. It wasn't potentially 5 trophies, but 5 trophies on the line. 2 were really realistic, 3 maybe, and in the end we ended up with 0. So we need to get through it. And as usual, I've got the tier maker list here where I've created 5 tiers plus 1 of like the guys that basically didn't play. And as I said, I don't have much time because of my laptop probably, so I'm just started ahead of time, so I don't want to spend too long. So we'll get into it, and of course I want your comments whether you agree with me or not. Oba, thank you very much for the support. How do I become a channel member? So I think you can only do it via desktop as far as I understand. I don't know if YouTube have updated, but I think you have to be on desktop, and there's a button that says join channel underneath the video via desktop. I think that's the only way to do it, I believe. But thank you anyway for thinking of supporting the channel. I appreciate that. So yeah, the guys that I got out of the way are he exists tier. I don't think we need much explanation for that. These are guys that either haven't played like Di Gennaro or played so little that it doesn't really shouldn't even be rated, whether it's their fault, whether it was Inzaghi's fault. Regardless, Thomas Palacios, let's have a look how many minutes he played this season for Inter. 26 minutes. Wow. Not even half and half. Well, actually, no, that is half and half, isn't it? Yeah. So at least can be the half of football in 3 appearances. So yeah, that explains that. Whether that's Inzaghi's fault, not trusting him, whether that's Inter's fault for buying him because his loan stint in Monza wasn't good, but very hard to judge. That Monza team was already pretty much relegated whilst he joined them. But initial signs not looking good for the boy. Definitely needs to be loaned out. Regular football needed for him. Tajon Buchanan, how many minutes did he get? Does he even come in this? Oh yeah, here he is. A whole 163 minutes in 7 appearances. So at least he got 1 full game of football plus something more. But yeah, this one is definitely lack of trust from Inzaghi. Then of course, unfortunate situation with his broken leg. And again, he needs to be sold for sure this summer. And Di Gennaro, yeah, banter, meme player. The 3rd goalkeeper never gets any minutes anyway. And then I think, yeah, self-explanatory. Taremi, embarrassing. I mean, the fact that Christian Aslani, a CDM, has the same amount of goals as Taremi. Where is he? Oh yeah, here. Aslani's here. Where's Taremi? The hell? Lost track of him. Oh, there. I just didn't register. Yeah, so almost, oh my God, that is how much football he played as well. Like if we rank Taremi in terms of the amount, let me rank this by the amount of minutes played in the team. So Taremi, yeah, look at that. almost 1,900 minutes, more minutes than Aslani, more than Zielinski, more than Arnautovic. That's a lot of minutes, and only 3 goals, and none of them in open play. Well, one of them in open play against Milan in the Supercoppa, but in Champions League, Serie A, Coppa Italia, the real 3 competition of the season, no open goal, no open play goals, just 2 penalties, just not good enough. And then Correa, I mean, if you saw my video the other day with Gianni on the Interviews podcast, a little insert that I made, I took a little excerpt from that podcast we did. I've put Correa in my all-time or players that I've watched that into list of flops, because outside of just a few flashes here and there that he offers, he's just completely useless most of the time. 4 years. You remember just a handful of really good appearances, and they are against Hellas Verona, Udinese. That's about it, really, isn't it? Or Sampdoria. That's it. Just awful. And then Forza Inter says Arnautovic deserves to be in that. Does Arnautovic deserve to be in that conversation? Do you know what it is with Arnautovic? I think now after this season, I think there's almost I think most Inter fans are kind of over the kind of all, I don't know if a hatred of the players of the squad, but I think this season has really pushed Inter fans to have almost no loyalty to pretty much all the squad now. After that embarrassment in the Champions League, it's like I've seen people say, get rid of everyone apart from maybe Bastoni, Barella, Lautaro, just a few players here and there. But apart from that, everyone is kind of like, you can go. But Arnautovic is definitely top of that list because of some of the key misses that we remember him for. But you know what? With Arnautovic, just as a conversation point, guys, don't bite my head off. 1 goal every 130 minutes. 7 goals from 908 minutes. That is actually very good return for the amount of minutes that he played. But I do understand that pretty much first half of the season, he wasn't good. He picked things up in the second half of the season, but then he still has some big moments or some, just key moments where you just remember him for bad misses like the one against Lazio. So where are we putting them? Don't disrespect ass by putting, if you're an ass man, maybe that you think this is a good category. Actually, man, there's missing chances, but he missed open goals for 2 years. Again, this is about this season, Forza Inter. Let's be objectively 24-25. I think, there was that miss against Roma as well. The miss against Roma. I think objectively, though, I thought he was starting to have a good season, Arnautovic, when he turned it around second half of the season. But ultimately, that moment against Lazio could have been really massive for him. I mean, we could have won the Scudetto really there. So, I think for that reason, he goes in the ass category, unless you have other arguments for that. In the MVP category, I have Denzel and Bastoni. I think there's no other arguments. You guys let me know if there's other players, but I think we're going to pick one. We'll pick one out of these two. Oh, sorry, I'm not even sharing the screen. One out of these two. That's it. I don't think there's anyone else that deserves to be in this MVP category. But again, you guys let me know your thoughts. We'll get to that by the end of the video. Hopefully, if my laptop makes it. Let's move on to Eduardo says on Arnautovic, but he scored some key goals as well, so no ass, but a level above. I'll let you guys decide that. You guys let me know. I think, as I said, objectively, if you put the hatred out of your heart, if you turn the other cheek, guys, if you become good Christians and good religious people and put the hatred out of your heart, if you're objective, I thought he wasn't having such a bad season, to be honest. But I don't think you can say he had a good season. That's the thing. And in terms of the season he was having was actually, it wasn't below expectations either. And obviously it wasn't great. So I think ass kind of makes sense, in my opinion. What do you mean just charge my laptop, bro? It's not about the battery. It's plugged in. It just starts to it starts to lag and it starts to overheat. Hey, Mattia. Hello, darkness, my old friend. And yes, leave a thumbs up. Thank you, Mattia, as always, reminding the people he's back on job. Mattia, I haven't done a live stream in over a month, but Mattia knows his job. He knows his role as the key master of proceedings, and reminds you guys to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Yeah, let's do Acerbi now. As I said, I can't spend too long on each player because I am conscious of my laptop starting to give up at some point and start lagging, and it'll get a very unenjoyable experience for you guys. Acerbi, I think we've had overall a bad season defensively, but is Acerbi really to blame for anything? Is there any particular mistakes that you remember from Acerbi this season? I don't know. I can't think of anything, in particular that stands out. Acerbi. The only thing with Acerbi is that he missed a key chunk of the season, didn't he? For was it a month and a half, almost 2 months, with this almost mysterious injury that he had. We didn't know he was supposed to come back after a few weeks, and he was just disappeared off the face of the earth. But then Vrij actually did step in quite nicely for him. We didn't really miss him too badly, I think, in that period. Where are we putting Acerbi? I think out of this season, he's definitely one of the ones not to blame, really. Mattia makes a good point. Acerbi's to blame for putting us into the Champions League final. He was the one with that moment of madness, I guess you want to call it, or genius, I guess, whatever you want to call it, against Barcelona, going up on his own, deciding that he's going up front and scoring that goal that took us to the Champions League final. So I guess you could blame him for making us go to that final and getting embarrassed in front of the whole world. He was injured for a while, so good. Only mistake was against Juan Jesus. That was the season before, Oba. That was the season before. Hey, Zeki, thank you very much for renewing your channel membership. Yeah, you were already a member before, so no worries. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. Probably good. That one. Fu says Acerbi was great. Tambir says Acerbi in good category, looks okay. Serie A Legend says, yeah, I think good category for Acerbi. Definitely some big performances as usual against big players, but when the defense leaks goals like that, I don't think many other defenders can save themselves outside of Bastoni. Now let's get to Aslani. Now I have an argument here for Aslani as well. I can feel like maybe some people will say ass category for Aslani, but let me put forth something to you. Let me put forth something to you guys with Aslani. Is the fact that actually when he starts in the league, every time Aslani has started, Inter are actually unbeaten. No losses when Christian Aslani has started. So let's take this, for example, Monza. I mean, this is an underperformance. We drew 1-1. Then Hellas Verona, we win 1-5-0. Venezia away, win 1-0. Bologna, draw 2-2. Empoli, win 3-1. Genoa, win 1-0. Parma, draw 2-2. You can say actually some of these draws actually are underperformance as well, so you can argue that. Well, it's just something to put forward to you guys, that I know he, similar to Arnautovic and Taremi, he has been singled out for some performances like the Supercoppa Italiana, like the one where he has to step in for Hakan after he got injured. Definitely was at fault for a few things there. In the Coppa Italia against Milan, some other sub performances when he comes in as a sub, not very convincing. But just something to put forward that, some people say that when he comes on, Inter completely crumble. But there's also proof that when he starts a game, it's not always that bad, really. Atambir says Aslani was good. Again, now I don't think he was good. I would put him below expectation because as this was his third full season at Inter now, I was expecting, I guess this depends on your expectation, because when we assigned Aslani, I had hope and I had expectations from him. I liked him at Empoli. I still like him. I still think he could be a good player, probably just not Inter level for sure. But I think he needed to take the path of Ricci, who was at Empoli, needs to get regular minutes. And yeah, seems to be the Inter player can take a penalty. He has scored as many goals as Taremi. Eduardo says he goes to AS. Oba says Aslani is Acerbi level. Attia says AS 100%. Below expectation, he played Castle as we thought he would. Below expectation. I mean, I'm seeing more votes for AS, so I'm going to move him down to AS if you guys are saying AS. But in my opinion, it should be below expectation. And thank you very much, Azaki. And by the way, yeah, my community post, I appreciate all the lovely comments and the positivity. I really, really do. Really, really humbled, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. But don't see it as my calling to, like, I haven't got a job now, so I need, it's not charity. Like, definitely not, guys. I was just letting you know what's going on. I'm making more videos because I have more time. But some days I'm like, I feel guilty. Like, I want to make more videos, but I'm like in a conflicted situation. But don't see it as like, I'm going to be out on the streets, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure I'm going to find something. But appreciate very much, Zeki, your contribution and support of the channel. Culture Ben says below expectations. You cannot be there for 3 seasons, never upgrade on your position. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Jesus. So I've seen, I guess overall, I've seen more votes towards AS, so I'm going to move him there, but I disagree with you guys, to be honest. Now, let's get to some big player. Nico Barella, guys. Nico Barella, at one point, when the season started, I thought Nico was having maybe his best season yet at Inter. I thought this guy was, I watched him live against Man City in Manchester, and he was, fantastic. Let me see his full stats for this season. I think just 24, 25. And obviously, Nico Barella should never be just fully judged on goals and assists. A midfielder, his game, especially a player like Barella, total midfielder like Barella, is a lot more than just goals and assists. But again, since Inzaghi's first season, wasn't it? Since Inzaghi's first season, when he started to hit 6, 7 goals, 7, 8 assists, like he was taking his numbers to the next level. He just doesn't, especially goal-wise. It's like he keeps taking a step back every season, like only 3 goals this season. That's very poor return for a team like Inter, where we attack most of the time, we hold the ball, and he is the one more than Mkhitaryan given that license to roam. Mkhitaryan is usually a little bit deeper than him. He should be doing at least 5, 6 goals a season, minimum 5, 6 goals a season. And in general, his level of performances is not his fault at times because he's overplayed by Italy, by Inter. And not just this season, over the last few seasons, but come on. I think, this might have been Barella's worst season yet. I agree. Last season, he had his troubles off the field. We know that he had some mental health issues, maybe even, or, some serious off the field stuff that happened to him, family issues. But this season, we thought, he looked like at the beginning that he was going to take things back to, top 5 midfielder in the world, which is where I would rate Barella on his day. But he just hasn't hit those heights consistently. And you could say he was tired all season, Eduardo, but, we players all around at top clubs play so much football, Pedri, Bellingham, all these guys, like they're playing football just as much. I know Barella has that over many years now with Italy and Inter, but there's only so many times that you can just say, he's tired and he's carrying the team on his back. I don't know if he regresses every season since he joined, because he definitely started to go up. In Inzaghi's first season, we saw him take that next step in the goals and assists. And the second season under Inzaghi as well, he's very complete. I think he won. And the fact that, he is clear every season pretty much this has been the Inter, right? And Barella's been in the either Serie A team of the season or he's won midfielder of the season, like the MVP midfielder of the season. This season, he wasn't even in the conversation. No one is putting Barella in their, team of the season teams. It shows you that like what type of season he had. Usually Barella walks into the team of the season for, even if you're a Juve fan, Milan fan, they will put Barella in the team of the season. He wins MVP, midfielder this season. No one in their right mind is putting Barella in that conversation, and that says everything. So yeah, I agree with you guys. Below expectation for Bare, as much as we love him. Moving on to let's do some keepers quickly. Get him out of the way. I think with Pep Martinez, I'm gonna put him in good because when he stepped in, not too many times he had to step in. How many appearances has he had? Where is he gone? Oh yeah, here he is. 900 minutes. Actually, that's more than I thought. 10 appearances. I think he's been good when he's had to step in, so I'm fine with that. Where are we putting Jan Sommer? I think, of course, some of the Champions League campaign, he was outstanding. Club World Cup, yes, there was a drop-off, but I think his Serie A campaign was probably good. So I'm going to say, yeah, Serie A campaign was good. His Champions League campaign was great. And then his Club World Cup, because we have to take into account the Club World Cup as well. I know some people see it as a glorified summer preseason or friendlies, whatever, but it was a competitive competition for sure. And there was definitely a drop-off in performance from him. So I'm putting Sommer in good. Yeah, no worries, Zeki. Yeah, we'll get to Thuram and Dimarco. Yeah, Calcio Ben says Pep was good, Sommer was good. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let's do Bisseck. Where are we putting Jan Bisseck next up? So this is another interesting one as well, because some Inter fans kind of put some losses on him. We know there are some losses or some moments that they are definitely on Bisseck's head, because the penalty against match day 1, penalty against Genoa, and then match day 38 or match day 37, Lazio penalty. So he starts the season with a silly giveaway penalty handball, and he ends the season with a silly penalty handball. But in between that, Bisseck did step in very well for when Benji Pavard was injured, showed some flashes, some big Champions League performances, like when he against Arsenal, he shut down Saka. So I think he deserves praise for that. He definitely took a step up in terms of confidence within this team. I think at some points he didn't even look better than Pavard. Pavard had a bit of a stinky start to the season. Sometimes it looked like Bisseck was looking better than Pavard at points, but then there was some drop off for sure. Bisseck, there was definitely some drop off. So let me see some of your comments on Bisseck. I'm not putting him in great, by the way. I'm just putting him on the screen, so don't worry about that. I think he goes in I'm leaning towards good category for Bisseck, because below expectations is, and again, sometimes these categories could be reworded. I know you guys sometimes want me to rename some categories, but we're going to be here for too long. Let's just try to force them into these categories. Let's just be force them in. Bisseck good, but made some huge mistakes, makes it hard to judge. If there's a category between good and below expectation, he will be there. Yeah, then you can start making too many categories. That's why I don't like making too many categories. Bisseck is good, sometimes making mistakes in crucial moments, but I think for me is ass. It was good for Bisseck. Yeah, I get Garen's point, is that he was good, but then his crucial moments are ass, So actually, maybe I should reword this category as maybe I don't know, average. Maybe that makes more sense, because it wasn't below my expectations of Bisseck. I expect him to make mistakes, but he counteracted some really good moments. Like, just as if you're going to blame Arnautovic for the Lazio, for not, winning against Lazio, really, it boils down to him. And I've said it, the season actually really boils down to not scoring enough. I know we blame Correa, Taremi, Arnautovic for not scoring as the backups, but actually, objectively, in Serie A, we saw it with Napoli. The best defense wins you the league. It was the moments in defense when we leaked too many goals that have led us to this disappointing season, especially in Serie A. So ultimately, some of those Bisseck brain fart moments or mistakes counteract the good moments that he's had this season. But he definitely has that. He's not asked, because you can see he is being valued, 35, 40 million. Teams are interested in Bisseck, and there's a reason for that. So I think maybe average, rewording that section to average, I'm happy with that. Let's move on. As I said, I can't spend too long on each category. Now let's speak about this guy, Hakan. Hey, Şimdi Hakan, our Turkish brother, who is in the limelight for all the wrong reasons at the moment. Galatasaray, is he going there? Is he not? Is he committed to Inter? Is he not? To be honest, I think he is in. I don't think he's been asked, but he definitely has taken a big step back this season. Even when he wasn't injured, even before the injuries, this guy, I think he went from last season being MVP level to maybe average or good. I'm definitely not going to have him in the great category, but I think average or good is where I'm at with Hakan. Because he's still key. That's the thing with Hakan. He's still a very key player, though. He finishes the season with how many goals and assists? I'm sure he still finished the season with like a goal and assist tally that, a striker would be proud of, obviously, because of the penalties that he takes. And then he misses the one key penalty that he misses. He never misses a penalty. He never missed a penalty for Inter. The one penalty he misses is the one that, Inter ended up drawing against Napoli again. But even, looking back on it, that penalty, it doesn't work like that, but just those 2 extra points from his penalty could mean Inter winning the Scudetto, right? 11 goals, 8 assists, that just looks unreal. His set piece taking. Yeah. I think the only thing that saves Hakan, to be honest, is the set pieces, because we became set piece FC. Without Hakan set pieces, guys, in the Champions League, in Serie A, like, how many goals did we score from set pieces this year? Without Hakan and Dimarco set pieces this year, how many goals do we not score? I think that's the main argument I would make for Hakan, is that we miss him when he wasn't there because of Aslani. We missed him a lot. So his injuries situation hurt us. His fitness hurt us. And then when he is there, even if he's not performing great, his set piece taking ability is so key. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm leaning towards good, just because of the set piece side of things. No, he wasn't playing like his ego was hurt. He was playing like his body just wasn't as, like, just wasn't as fit, sharp as he was in the season before. Like, his style of play is very intense. He slide tackles a lot. He goes into 50-50s a lot. He just seemed like half a yard off the pace. Like, he was losing a lot more duels this year. Even he was looking a bit defensively weaker, which is why we conceded more. Yeah, one of the few players that scored from outside of the box, like, that Monza goal that we needed. And that penalty, still average. Yeah, Hakan's body seems to be done at the moment. Hope to be wrong. But yeah, let's be, maybe shall we be harsh with this tier rating today? Because it has been a grueling season for us Interisti, ending with no trophies. We're feeling a bit harsh. And I think let's be harsh with some of these big players, big salaries. Hakan, you've had an average season, especially he said himself that he rates himself as a top 3 DM in the world. He puts himself alongside, and this was the season before, he said, Cruz, Rodri, Kimmich, put me up there with these guys, Declan Rice. he definitely was not a top 3, top 5 DM in Europe this season. Carlos Augusto, I think this guy may be definitely good season. He can have maybe a shout for great season. What are you making with Carlitos Augusto? This guy basically became the starter left wing back for Interisti in the second half of the season because Dimarco dropped off so badly. And as usual, always reliable as a left centre back, which is really, really, so nice to have. That he's, I think I rated him more as a left centre back, but then this season he's actually started to show that he's also useful as a wing back again. I thought he was going to be relegated to becoming permanently a centre back because it seemed like attacking wise he just didn't have the technical ability. But ends the season with 3 goals, 7 assists, so 10 GA, very, very good return. I think he could be the first player that we can put in the great category, because he definitely performed above expectations for me. So he has that. Then he has key assist against Monza, key goal against Como, key assist against Fiorentina, key assist against Monza, key goal against Atalanta, key assist against Cagliari. Then he had the assist in the Champions League as well, right? Yeah, he had the big Champions League assist to Frattesi in the Champions League, assist against Feyenoord. Some big key moments from Carlos Augusto. So I think he might be the first player maybe in the great category. What are you guys saying? He was great, showed growth, took Dimarco's position. I agree, Eduardo, especially for a substitute. Augusto was great. Garin says good. He just needs more playtime. I mean, he has 2,700 minutes, Garin. Look at that. He is, very high up in terms of minutes played. Hey, Nevon, hope you're doing well, brother. Yeah, just slightly late. You can always rewind it. Augusto was really good with headers, unlike Dimarco. Should be a starter for this season. I know, Marcello, I know that we really need to be doing this, but I have to close out the season. I know. Augusto's really good. Yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, Nevon, we have to be realistic in terms of performance-wise. He definitely outperformed Dimarco in the second half of the season. So in theory, we shouldn't have Augusto as a starter left wing back, because technically he's too limited. But in terms of his athletic ability, defensive ability, grinta, energy, and he's starting to finally add more final product to his game, like he was at Monza, I'm happy to go in with Augusto starting and then Dimarco having to fight his way back, if you know what I mean. But in theory, if Inter want to be, challenging for things and be a top team, you can't have Carlos Augusto as your starting left wing back, really. But his season, I think I'm going to put him in great, to be honest. I think he, as a substitute and then overtaking Dimarco, I'm going to put him in great, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to put him in great, Deshant. Yeah, I agree with you. I think good and yeah, 2 assists. Yeah. So that's Carlos Augusto. Let's move on to Matteo Darmian. I think it was an average season from Darmian. I think it's not his fault. Time catches up to everyone. He is our tried, tested, and trusted soldier. Mattia's namesake, Matteo Darmian. But he shouldn't be playing as a wing back. He shouldn't be playing as a wing back anymore. At 34, 35 years of age, in the year of our Lord, 2025, he should not play as a wing back anymore. I do not want to see him as a wing back anymore. Should only be a right centre back, left centre back, full time. Only in emergency situations, play him as a wing back. But when he plays as a wing back, we're just blunt. We're just really, really blunt. Still came with some goals and some important goals, as he always does. 3 goals, 2 assists. Which ones were they? Lecce, yeah, that was a big one at the beginning of the season. Venezia, obviously, there's a match-winning goal. Really, really big goal. Against Parma, big goal there against his former team. And then what are the assists? One against Udinese, one against Empoli, and what's the other one? Where's the other one? Oh, sorry, it's 3 goals and 2 assists. Yeah, that's not really a good return for a guy that's played a lot. Look at that, 30 appearances as a wing back. I think it was an average season for Matty Dahms. Yeah, and everyone says average at best. I don't mind that he will play right centre back, but don't put him. Yep, Frenzy Fosti agree. Eduardo says average. Should be banned from playing in the UCL. That's a bit harsh. Ahmad, yeah. I didn't know you sold your Akan FC shares. Is that you flip-flopping? My brother? But yeah, definitely Hakan stocks are at an all-time low now. But good to see you in the chat. He's in that stage like DD33 that you can no longer play at Inter. Yeah, just good to bring on sometimes. Maybe he can sneak you a goal. Far post. Remember D'Ambrosio at the far post? That was the thing that you bring on D'Ambrosio, maybe gets you a goal at the far post. That's what Darmian is basically now. Yeah, I don't mind him keeping him because he's such a useful player. He can play right centre back, left wing back, right wing back. But Kivu really needs to make the decision, unlike Inzaghi. Like, regardless if a Dumfries is injured or not, now that we have Luis Enrique, you can't play Darmian as a right wing back anymore for sure. Let's move on to, let's stick to the wing back category. Dimash. Now, this guy, if it was up until December, maybe even second week of January, this guy could have been in the MVP category. Like this guy, I think I gave him my midway season MVP. He started the season on fire, Dimarco. I was so impressed with him. Physically, he looked the fittest I've seen Dimarco looking. He was adding final product, scoring goals. His overall play was good, the build-up, the link-up play, scoring some lovely, lovely goals. And then I guess it all caught up to him. I don't know if it was, being overplayed. Italy, Inter, obviously just not being gifted athletically. This guy fell off the face of the earth. Like, look at this start of the season with the muscle fatigue and on the bench, and then assist against Young Boys in the Champions League, assist against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. For Italy, look at that. For Italy, he was on fire. Goal. Look how many assists for Italy. He was on fire for Italy. And then here, goal against Milan, assist against Udinese. Look at this. November, Venezia, assist. December, goal, assist, goal. And then January, that's it. This was probably it. As I was saying, first, second week of January, boom. This Bologna game, 2 assists. This is probably the last we saw of a good Dimarco. After this, it was just a downward trajectory. He came back from injury and looked like he was back to his normal self. 2 assists against Udinese, 1-1 against Parma and Cagliari. But that's then realistically, even in these games, we know that he just did not look right. He didn't look fit. And you can see Augusto was starting to take his minutes. And look, he was completing games. Like, look how many he completed. 90 minutes, 65, 90, 90, 77. And then you see here, Augusto starting to take his spot now. 63, 59, 60, 26, 63, 21. So maybe this beginning bit caught up to him. So much football at the beginning. And for Italy, look at that. He was an undisputed star for Italy. Caught up to him. So where are we putting our beloved Dimash, who, again, has some really poor moments, highlights as well from this season, some really bad moments. And thank you, Mr. or Miss Diaz, whoever you are, for the donation. Really, really appreciate that. Ahmad started as MVP, became average after December. Then you see how final pushed him to ass. He went from star to ass with the new year. Yeah, so if he goes from MVP to great to ass, so I guess we got to end up somewhere in between, right? So shall we finish with average? I think average is right, because if he started from MVP great, but then finished the season as ass, I feel like something in the middle is right. So I think average season, even though overall, he ends the season. If you tell me at the beginning of the season, Dimarco finishes with 4 goals, 11 assists, that is a very good return, guys, for a wing back. 4 goals, 11 assists. But it's just objectively the way he ended the season. Yeah, I think average. Yeah, average. Let's move on to my laptop is actually lasting longer than I thought. We're 40 minutes through, so make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Sure, let's do some strikers now. Let's move on to some strikers. And we're going to finish with the MVPs. We're going to discuss who is the MVP at the end between Denzel and Bastoni. Let's get the big topics out of the way. Lautaro Martinez. Now, he started the season, again, there are some mitigating circumstances for Lautaro. But look at that, 4,000 minutes, guys. 4,000 minutes. That is absolutely crazy amount of football to play for someone. And the mitigating circumstances or excuses, I guess you could say, for Lautaro are the late comeback from international duty, the Copa America, where he performed great for Argentina. So had a late finish to the season, then decides to come back. Taremi gets injured in preseason or just before the season gets started. So Lautaro, all respect to him, decides to join up with Inter early. He decides to join up with Inter early. Starts off the season, looks unfit, looks fat, looks unfit, but still plays. So you got to give him credit for that, guys. Whether he looked unfit, whether he looked fat, look at that. Inzaghi was trying to ease him in 24 minutes, 26 minutes, 29 minutes in the Champions League. In the league, he just started him, even though he probably shouldn't have. In retrospect, they should have told Lautaro, no, don't cut the holiday early. Stay out in Argentina. Have a proper rest after you Copa America. Yes, Taremi's injured, but let's just, find a way around this. Let's, Arnautovic, Arnautovic Correa, I know is not good, but in retrospect, that Lautaro was not useful to Inter, guys. He was not useful to Inter the first few weeks, months. He was not useful to Inter. He scored. He might have scored in some like in the Champions League. He scored against Red Star, but that was like a game finishing goal. Like it was at the end of the game. It was a charity goal. He had an assist. And then this is where you saw him start to really become in form. January was when we really finally started to see Lautaro. Look at that. Sparta Prague, hat-trick against Monaco, Feyenoord, Bayern Munich. This is the best Champions League campaign by Lautaro. And in the league, it was the same. Yes, there are some goals in here, but he did not look himself at all in these games. Those 2 goals against Udinese, they were good. But really, he only started to look good, I would say, like he was looking like a real Lautaro up after October, like this November bit. He started to look more like Lautaro. And then here, December, January is when he really started to pick up form. He looked lean, he looked fit, he looked sharp. He was starting to dribble past players again. And, starting to score consistently here. Then there was a drop-off again. And then there was injuries as well at the end of the season. So I don't think Lautaro can be still ended up. That's a good hit rate, 24 goals out of 53 appearances. That's a 1 in 2 goal hit rate. But in the league, only 12 goals. And then obviously it's hard to judge Lautaro. It's hard to judge him because, the fitness just wasn't there the first half of the season. So let's see what you guys are saying for Lauti. Good for Lauti. Great for his leadership. Average if you consider everything. Great for UCL. Lautaro, great. Matthias says average. If I could be emotionless, I would say Lautaro, Frattesi, Pavard, Zielinski, Gyökeres. Fair enough. Alexander says, good season by standards. Unlucky for him that he had to play because of our backed up strikers were just poor. I'm glad we have hungry young girls next season. Yeah. Lauti gave me PTSD from Atalanta game in Super Cup, even though we won that game. Gotta give credit to this guy. He was recovery. Yeah. I think average is harsh because, at the end of it, as I said, like that Champions League season, I think his Champions League campaign really pulls his rating up. Like, this is a really, really good Champions League campaign, you know. And it's in the important moments as well, you know, in the group stage, he didn't really play, he didn't really start. Then afterwards, you know, this is a massive goal against Sparta Prague away. That's the winner goal. Then a hat-trick that takes us through as in the top 4. And then in the last 16, crucial goal against Feyenoord, crucial goal against Bayern, crucial goal against Bayern again. And then he played, remember guys, he played with like basically one leg against Barcelona and still gets a goal and an assist. He rushed himself back for the second leg of the Barcelona game. So because of that, I think I'm going to put him good. I don't think he's it definitely can't be a great season. I think at one point it was his worst season at Inter, in my opinion, from like start of the season till about October, November might have been like, I would have said Lautaro's worst season at Inter. He looked so unfit and he didn't look right. And then between, November, December, January was really good. And then Champions League campaign dragged us through the mud. But then, I think it's just a good season overall. But we expect much better from Lautaro now that he is so highly paid as well, the captain and everything. But 9 goals in 12 in Champions League to bring us to the final is massive. But I don't think it's a great season, Anthony. So it's great in UCL, but Coppa Italia, Serie A, everything else, Club World Cup as well, he was all right. Especially if we hold these guys to a high standard, which I think we do. He looked good in the Club World Cup, not against Fluminense though. The one where we got knocked out, he looked pretty poor in that game. But they all did, to be fair. So good is fair for Lautaro. What about his partner, Marcus Thuram? Again, if you ask me, maybe between start of the season and November, maybe with Thuram, I think. Let's have a look. Then this guy was maybe MVP as well. But then this guy, like after January, this guy literally he was still playing and he was still important to us again, because that was how bad Taremi, Correa, etc. were. Just characteristic-wise, we couldn't drop him. But it was basically like playing with, an unfit Thuram, but it looked like. See, he finishes the season not bad. If you told me at the beginning of the season he finishes with 18 plus 9 GA, that's really good. Maybe I would say I wanted him to finish the season with 20 goal or competition. That was my kind of target for Thuram. So he kind of slightly underperformed that, but 9 assists is still big. I think Transfermarkt count penalties won as well as assist, if I remember correctly. But anyway, that's massive. But his start of the season was really good. Crucial goal away at Young Boys. He came on and saved the game as a substitute. And then in the league, look at that. Starts off with 2 massive goals against Genoa. Assist, 2 goals and an assist. Then he goes quiet. This was the thing with Thuram. He would only score in bunches. 2 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals. Then in December, all the way in December, finally starts to go score 1, 1, 1. And then here it is, literally after January, he forgot how to play football. So up until August till December or even January, he was still performing well in these games, maybe not scoring, but he's still performing well. And then after here, I remember just physically he looked nowhere near as sharp, and that was of course because he was forced to play all the time. But actually not really, in the Champions League he rotated a lot, but he just didn't look the same. Ankle issues. The dropout was so bad from Thuram. Let me see what you guys are saying for Tikus Thuram. Good, he carried us in many moments. Thuram was way too inconsistent. I agree, Anthony. To me, it was below expectations. Something was bothering him. Thuram, same as Dimarco from start to us, so average. If Lauti was good, then Thuram good. Thuram is great, bro. He's Rocky. No, he can't be great. He can't be great. Thuram can't be great because that's literally 4 or 5 months of the season that he was not even good. Bro had to play half a season with only 1 leg. That's where I give him some mitigating circumstances. But again, as I said, it's not like he was always forced to play. Inzaghi, in the Champions League rotated completely. It was always Taremi starting in the Champions League, especially the group stages. Arnautovic started a lot of the group stage games. Second half of the season, that's where it started to play, definitely more and more. And yes, there were some injury issues for sure as well for Thuram, where he wasn't fully fit and he was probably forced to play. But yeah, I think it's similar to Dimarco. He went from MVP or great to ass, really. So I think it ends up being somewhere in the middle, to be honest. And then in the Champions League, he wasn't really the one stepping up too much. Actually, yeah, he did have the big goal against Barcelona. His overall play against Bayern, I mean, he had the assist with Lautaro with that back heel, but yeah, he finished in the semi-final. He looked finished. In the final, he was completely anonymous, but everyone was anonymous in that final. And there weren't really any big performance in the Serie A afterwards in the second half. So I definitely can't put him in great. But yeah, if Lautaro is in good and a season with 18 goals and 18 goals, 7 assists, that's a good season. 18 or 9 assists. Yeah, that's a good season, to be honest. That's a good season. Oh yeah, that on Araujo. But again, do we punish guys for that they forced us to go to the final, like we said with Acerbi? Maybe they shouldn't have done that. Bro, Musin, all respect to you, brother. But yeah, the whole chat was in agreement with this one. It was not a good season for Barella. And again, we're giving them plenty of explanation and excuses in terms of their fitness levels, and maybe they were forced to play at some points through injuries, through fatigue. Italy into like it was a grueling season, multiple seasons back to back. But yeah, that was definitely one of the easiest rankings we've done. Most of the chat was in agreement with Barella in the average category. And again, it's about the standard that we hold these players at. We hold these players at a high standard. And yeah, Barella. And like unlike some of the other categories, like, you know, there was that one performance against Bayern, Barella, like the Bayern away performance was, you know, beautiful. But when he came up against, you know, Pedri and Frankie de Jong against Barca, I didn't really feel like he shined there. I loved him in the Man City game, but yeah. Anyway, we've done Barella anyway. We've done Barella, so I don't want to go back to that. Where were we? Yeah, so are we happy with Thuram in good? I know some people will put him in average, but I think if we are harsh, maybe he deserves to go in average. But I think if Lautaro's in good, because he carried us in the first half of Serie A, Lautaro carried us in the Champions League, Thuram carried us in the Serie A. So on that balance, I think they both had deserved to be in good. But to be honest, I'm not impressed with either of the seasons, to be honest, guys. I want to put both of them, like, you know, Lautaro, we're talking about people were giving him Ballon d'Or shouts the season before because of, you know, you had the Copa America as well. Like, if you're holding them to this standard, I don't know, man. I'll leave it there because I think most of you guys were in agreement. But honestly, I feel like putting Lautaro and Thuram in average category because the starting striker in this Inter team, with the amount of chances we create in the Inzaghi Bowl, I know it wasn't amazing football all season this year, but the amount of XG we create, the chances that we create, the domination of football that we have in Serie A most of the time against teams, the starting strikers at Inter should be delivering these types of numbers. You know, Lautaro finishing the Serie A season with 12 goals. Yeah, Marcus Thuram being on top scorer with 14 and Lautaro on 12. That is not great at all. That is not good. Not even great. That's not even good. So, but I'm going to leave him there. New bracket, half average, half good. Maybe. If we think about what we lack most in the season compared to the last one, so both our strikers being in good category is already a gift. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on because my laptop is already doing more than I thought it would be. So let's finish up with these last 5. The Vrij, we can put him in good, average. I mean, I don't remember any particular mistakes from the Vrij, any particular specific bad moments, unlike Bisseck or Pavard. Pavard has some bad moments. Bisseck has some bad moments. Or the Vrij, I don't remember any particularly bad moments. He did his job when he had to come in. How many minutes did he have? There was that period where Acerbi disappeared off the face of the earth and he had to step in. And yeah, he actually ended up having more minutes than Acerbi. Look at that, 3,000 minutes. Some big. He had a big goal as well, didn't he? Was it in the derby? I think that was the Coppa Italia derby, wasn't it? 3 goals, 1 assist. Where was the goals? Not that it really matters for a centre back, but Hellas Verona, yeah, that's stat padding. Yeah, big goal against Milan here for the 1-1. Scored on the last day against Como. Yeah, that's not true. Oh yeah, he had the assist for Zalewski in that Milan one. That's the one I was thinking of. But yeah, I think he did good. He did good when he needs to step in. I think I'll make a video on like keep or sell, those types of videos, whether we want to keep De Vrij and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, De Vrij can go good for his standards that are lower than Lautaro. He's always been ready. For me, he's underrated. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. When Acerbi is injured, then he's good. But then when Acerbi is fit, then he becomes average again. Yeah, that's true. That's true. When Acerbi is away, he looks like, yeah, we're fine without Acerbi. But then when Acerbi comes back, Acerbi shows levels every time. But I think, yeah, he had a good season. Mkhitaryan. I'll be real with you guys. I'm not putting him in ass. I'm already seeing people. Mkhitaryan might be the most hated player, I think, this past season. It seems like the whole, or 80% of the fan base turned on Mkhitaryan because of his age, because of those Injokabuli comments where maybe he was sounding a bit too arrogant, and because we were just thinking that, he was going to be phased out by Zielinski or Frattesi, and he just wasn't. And we thought that he had some sex tape leverage on Inzaghi, that he was just undroppable. But look at that, finishes the season. This is the stats, these are the stats that Barella should be ending the season with. Like we said, 5 goals at least, 8 assists. Sorry. Oh, no. Whoa, I completely misread that. Take that back. Whoa. Nah, that is ass. 1 goal and 5 assists. Yeah, I completely misread that. Rewind that shit. 1 goal and 5 assists. That is, again, Mkhitaryan should be at least with the amount of chances that he gets, the amount of shots that he skies, one-on-ones that he misses. For a guy that used to be so good at that, is really disappointing how much of a step back he's taken in that. This season, he admitted himself at the beginning that he was poor at the beginning of the season. Then he picked it back up. He had a poor first month or so, I would say. August, September was August, start of September, he was poor. Then he started to pick things up. I think after kind of, after the, I think he was good against Atalanta. And then, he had a really good period, I think, around here as well. Scored a great goal against Juve. Then he dropped off as well. 2 assists, 1, and then after, in this period here, then he dropped off. Very inconsistent season for Mkhitaryan, which is what you don't expect from someone so experienced. I think that's the thing with Mkhitaryan. Like, you expect more consistency from someone of his experience. Mkhitaryan deserves good. He was making some chances, some clean tackles, good dribbling. Yeah, he is definitely a team player, but he is a scapegoat. He is the Armenian goat. But I think overall, because he's low offensive threat, but not even just that, some big passes that he misses. Sometimes he really gifts the ball to the other team in really awful positions. Some poor decision making. Mickey's good as a bowler, not his fault that his backups are always injured. Yeah, there's also that as well. That he was pretty much fit the whole season. That's not his fault. He was looking tired as well at some points. But I think, for his level, for what I expect out of Mkhitaryan, the consistency that I expect out of Mkhitaryan, holding guys to a high standard, I think he was average this season, Mkhitaryan. Now, if we talk about the guy that maybe should have taken his spot, maybe some people were expecting Frattesi. This is the year that he can start taking his spot from Mkhitaryan. Where are we putting Frattesi? Because obviously he didn't. And be objective, guys. Like, I know he had the big moments with Frattesi. With Frattesi, it's funny. Like, the fan base on my videos, they started abusing Frattesi for like most of the season. And then he scored the goal against Bayern, and then he scored against Barcelona, and then became loved by the fan base again. But again, as a midfielder, that doesn't save Frattesi's season. Yes, it saves it in terms of the rating that we give it here, but realistically, it didn't show Inzaghi that this guy should be starting, because the problem with Frattesi was when he started, he wasn't good enough in possession, out of possession, tracking players, keeping the ball, linking up. This was the season I gave him last season. I gave him season off. I was like, it's the first season coming from Sassuolo. I'll give him last season. This season, I'm going to judge him very, very harshly, very closely. And honestly, outside again, just like last year, he became a super sub. I think if you see him as a super sub, as I said last season, then Frattesi has had a great season if you see him as a super sub. But if your expectation of a guy that we paid 30 plus million for, that he should be improving his overall play and starting to make a claim to be a starter at Inter, then he had a flop of a season. Because once again, he did not sniff becoming a starter at Inter. Stat-wise, when you look at it overall, just under 2,000 minutes, 7 goals, 2 assists, that is a fantastic return. If Taremi had this return, we would have said Taremi's had a pretty decent season. But this is a midfielder's at this season, so that is fantastic return. They're the 2 big goals in the Champions League. Big goals for Italy as well. Big substitute appearance at the start of the season against Genoa. Big goal against Udinese. 2 massive goals against Empoli away. But look at that. Like, just as you think he starts to perform as a starter against Monza, not impressive. Against Udinese, this is Frattesi's best performance overall at Inter. Udinese away. This is probably his most total, complete performance at Inter. Then has a few games as a starter. Then here, this is where maybe Inzaghi could have managed him better. Where I can't remember if he had some sort of injury. This is the thing. He was actually injured a lot more than it shows here. Transfermarkt is a little bit off when it comes to these things. Frattesi actually has had a lot of injury issues this year, which has been frustrating. What we're talking about, Mkhitaryan has had to play a lot because of these, not major issues, but just like Inzaghi mentioned many times, Frattesi has a little issue with his fatigue or cough or something, like little things that kept him out of the team, which I can't remember, might have been what made him not play here. But he just never really made a claim to be a starter most of the time, unless he is, against these Lecces, Udineses, teams like that. But in a big game, are you starting Frattesi? No, because you're basically saying I want one less midfielder. I think one really bad game was the Milan one. Oh no, he didn't start that one. I think that was the Coppa one. I think Inzaghi could have definitely managed him better or give him more minutes. He started a lot of the Champions League game, but in the Champions League games, we were kind of playing a different type of game, sitting back and counter-attacking. So overall, let's see what you guys are saying with Fratte. Musin says Aslani played better than Frattesi. Anything other? Yeah, with Aslani, I actually disagreed with the people in the chat. I think Aslani deserves this category, to be honest. But I went with what the chat said. Calcio Ben says Frattesi equal ass. I think it can't be ass though. culture, Ben. It can't, a guy that puts up 7 goals to assist from midfield, that can't be a season. It definitely just can't be one of the higher categories. I mean, bro had Correa taking space in midfield in Juve game. Goals can't save him now. Average for frat boy. Putting Acerbi Martinez in the same tier is crazy work. Yeah, which one? Which one would you put in? Stop putting the same comment, Pav Jane. Where would you put Martinez and Acerbi? How do we go so far in season with this shit? How is this shitty squad, bro? Like everyone now is just shitting on the team. Like this is the best team in Serie A squad for 4 years now. So it's definitely not an average shitty team. That's just people. That's just you now. Like a team that competes on all fronts until the end of the season is a good team. Objectively, a team that's competing for the Scudetto every single season is a good team. A team that's go to 2 Champions League finals in the last 3 years is a good team. So it needs improving. It needed better managing. It needed, definitely different things adding to it. More investment in January to help it take it to the next level. But in Serie A, that is a good squad. Did you see the squad that won the Serie A? Did you see the level of competition in Serie A that we were competing against? This is a good team. It just wasn't good enough to compete on so many different fronts. His worst game against Roma, 0-1. Yeah, overhaul hopefully will be happening this summer. Frattesi average. Yeah, I think average with Frattesi. He didn't take the next level, but 7 goals to assist, man. You can't scoff at that. Benji Pavard. I'm putting Benji Pavard at average. Let's see what you guys say. To be honest, again, be real, guys. Expectation level. This is World Cup winner, Champions League winner, multiple Bundesliga winner. We signed him for 30 million euros. Big expectations. Last season, he was good. He made us forget about Skriniar. He looked like an upgrade on Skriniar in the way that he fit Inzaghi's 3-5-2, everything. But the beginning of the season, I think this is the thing, when we do these things so many months on, the beginning of the season from this guy was not very convincing at all. He looked like he wasn't really fully committed to Inter. And again, this summer I have question marks whether Benji Pavard's kind of, really super committed to Inter. Like he's seeing Inter now as just like, I've done my stint at, Bayern, and I've won my World Cup and Champions Leagues. I'm not really, too interested in pushing myself too far. I think Pavard has had an average season, to be honest. Like there was one point where we were saying, Bisseck should be starting ahead of him. And then when Bisseck wasn't playing, we were saying Darmian should be start ahead of both. He in the second half of the season when he came back, he looked better. Definitely second half of the season was better from Pavard. But overall, for expectations I have of Pavard, I think it was a very average season. Some people are saying, Shakir is saying Pavard ass. Jabis is saying ass. Matthias saying average. Caucho Ben says average. Navon says, Navon knows he's a Bayern Munich fan as well. Beginning ass, later on good, but he was injured too often, sadly should be average, yeah. If his expectation, yeah, exactly. So we had 2 perfect Bracetti and he improved in the season. He finally scored at least, though, against Bayern. He got that goal, legendary goal against Bayern. Average, I was such a big, same. I was actually, I was never a big fan of him, Pavard, when he was at Bayern, France. But in the back 3, like it really suited him. But this season, it kind of like Bisseck is definitely adds more. Like when Bisseck plays on the ball, Bisseck adds more because he's like, his passing is better. He's more, adds more ideas, different ability or set pieces. Bisseck is better, but obviously Bisseck is just unreliable in like key moments, concentration, reading of the game. But then sometimes at the beginning of the season, Pavard looked unreliable too, which was surprising. So yeah, I'm happy with that average season. And then let's finish up before we decide on the MVP. Pavard Zielinski. Now, I think with Zielinski, people are going to edge, if I predict correctly, I think people are going to edge Zielinski to the ass category, because we thought, my prediction, I think if I go back to some videos from last season, or at the beginning of last season, my prediction was that Zielinski will take time to bed in, Inzaghi will take time to bed him in, but by January, February, he will start to take over from Mkhitaryan. That did not happen. Yes, there were some injuries, but it wasn't like that many injuries. There was obviously a key period where he was out, Zielinski, but overall, he clearly never convinced Inzaghi. And actually, the most convincing performances from Zielinski were probably as CDM, as a regista, so not even as a Mkhitaryan. He was probably the best. He was probably the best vice Hakan this season, rather than the vice Mkhitaryan or even vice Barella. I thought he could be a good vice Barella as well, but he just wasn't. He started off the season okay. Like this performance against Man City, I liked him in this one. In the Champions League, I think his best game at Inter was this one, RB Leipzig. I think he was man of the match. He won man of the match for this one. But apart from that, he was always like a 6 out of 10. I don't think there was any like a really bad game from Zielinski. That's why I struggle to put Zielinski in the ass category, personally, if you say ass category, because I don't think Zielinski, unlike the Taremis, unlike the Correas, unlike according to you guys, Aslani, Arnautovic, I don't think Zielinski had a stinker of a performance ever. It was just always 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5 out of 10 on a good day. That RB Leipzig game was a 7 out of 10, but that was it. That was the highlight of his season. And for a guy that we pay like 4.5 million net, it's free transfer, but that's an expensive backup in terms of salary that we pay. And again, my expectations, I have high expectations, I rate Zielinski highly. I always liked him at Napoli. I always thought he was one of the best centre mids in Serie A. I was disappointed by Zielinski this season as a Zielinski fan. He doesn't look he looks like he came to Inter, doubled his salary from Napoli, won his Scudetto finally, a couple seasons back. Doesn't seem too hungry. 99 appearances for Poland. Like, it just doesn't strike me that he's not like Mkhitaryan, who seems to be just, going and going. It's getting super fit. This guy seems to be... we signed him, and his injury record at Napoli was almost flawless. We remember my video that I did with Napoli talk when we signed Zielinski. He said, this guy is going to be fit all the time. Like, the only time he was injured was like COVID or like illness. Comes to Inter and he gets like 2 or 3 injuries straight away. And obviously his highlight was the 2 penalties he scored against the Juve, and that was the only goals he scored. He didn't add a final ball. He didn't add the shooting from outside the box. All the things that I wanted him to add. So, yeah, I mean, he even deserves a shout. Actually, Shakir, good shout. He even deserves a shout in the he exists category, because people even forgetting that we have Zielinski. That's how disappointing he has been. I think as a transfer, I would definitely put him, if this was a transfer video, I would put him in the flop or ass category. But I think overall, because it's just been 6 out of 10 performances, and he's been okay as a vice Hakan at times as well, I think he was just average season for him. Yeah, I don't really know now. I don't think he really tried that. It didn't seem like he was trying really hard to convince Inzaghi. That was the issue I was having. It just seemed like he was happy to do his, when you look at his stats, every game he would compete 90% of his passing, like always very safe with his passing, very, not shooting from anywhere, not taking any risks. He should be the risk-taking midfielder in this team more than any other midfielder that we have. He has the left and right foot, magic left and right foot, but yeah. Nah, definitely not good, Culture, but definitely can't be good. Definitely not good. I'm gonna give it, I think, let me see what you got. I think I'm gonna put him in average. I think this suits this Inter team, like having most of the team in the average category. I think it suits Inter the season that Inter had, because most of the players have only had a really average and ass season, really. I mean, he didn't play with high confidence, risk taking. Yeah. Because maybe that's probably why Inzaghi. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Inzaghi likes Zielinski. Mkhitaryan because he's safer than other midfielders. He completes his passes. Yeah, maybe that's what you mean. That he was trying to be like Mickey. But that's the thing. We don't need another Mkhitaryan. We need Zielinski to step it on from Mkhitaryan. You missed a couple of ass votes at the start. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we're gonna put Zielinski at ass, then I'm moving Aslani to average. That's my argument now. You guys let me know if Aslani is an ass, I'm moving him up to average and Zielinski down to ass. You guys decide because I'm not having both of them in ass because I feel like especially Aslani gets scapegoated way too much. Matthias says then no. He's not moving. He's not letting Aslani move from the ass category. Jabis says it's fair. Let's go with average. Aslani both. No, moving slightly. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep Aslani there. But disclaimer to anyone watching this, I don't agree with these guys on Aslani. Does Aslani have any assists? Yeah, I think it's some assists from set pieces, if I remember correctly. No? Let's have a quick look. My laptop has actually lasted way longer than I thought, guys. Maybe live streams could be back. They could be back, guys. My laptop has lasted an hour and 18 minutes. So live streams are back. Yeah, 3 goals, 3 assists. Not too bad of a return from a CDM. And I think if Inzaghi played him more as a mezzala, I think you're looking at potentially 4 or 5 goals, more assists from this guy because I think he is not at the moment, he's not a DM. It's like maybe Western Lord Gallia. Wow. I mean, when I see Mickey dropping trash performance and still get benched and keep sleeping, Slani making it the ultimate scapegoat. Yeah. Slammer doesn't make a short live stream and it is known. Yeah. No, today I was only going to make it short. As soon as my laptop started lagging, because I can see when it starts to lag here, I would have cut the stream. But yeah, usually even when I say, oh, guys, I'm only going to be on for like 20 minutes, it ends up being an hour anyway. So yeah, it's known on this channel if you're new. Okay, now it's time, guys, to decide on our... Sorry about the ads. Oh, so annoying. Let me zoom out. Decide on who the MVP of this season is. So let me put an argument forth for each one. And you guys comment below. Before I put my arguments in, you guys comment, and then let's see how we look afterwards. So Denzel, I think the argument for Denzel is only really the second half of the season. So it depends whether you rate an MVP for a whole season or only half a season, because realistically, we saw Denzel, man on fire, Denzel Washington, from when he signed his contract. 11 goals, 6 assists, guys. That is wow. That is an unreal return for a wing back. 17 GA from wing back. And I think finally this season what we saw is Inzaghi learning how to use Dumfries properly. Like, just use him in the final third. Just boom, boom, boom. Just let him keep running into that space like he does for the Netherlands. Forget about him in the build-up. So, yeah, you see, like in the Champions League, nothing in terms of goal contribution up until the semi-finals against Barcelona, where he has gone down in history. Like, those are 2 goated performances by Denzel. In the league, I think it was pretty much the same. This was, Inzaghi at the beginning of the season said there was, and Dumfries said it himself, like he was having some injury issues where he wasn't fully fit. He was feeling some pain, so he was not the starter. Darmian was starting a lot of games. You can see not starting any of the first 4 games of the season. Didn't start here against Torino, Roma, not against Empoli. Then here starts to perform. And then if I remember correctly, let's see when he signed his new contract. Let's see. It should be around December, I think, if I remember. Oh, end of November. So yeah, end of November signs his new contract. So let's see, where is end of November? Yeah, so here, end of November, Hellas Verona. Oh, God's sake. Sorry, guys. To reload it. Hellas Verona, end of November, boom. Then this is Denzel Dumfries takes over the world. Parma, Lazio, goal and assist. Then I just remember that regardless of goal and assist, he was great in all of these games. Bologna, massive goal. Empoli, big goal. Lecce, big goal. Monza, big assist. Lazio, big goal. Supercoppa Italiana, 2 goals against Atalanta, massive performance there. This was a big season from Denzel, but it really only started in the second half of the season. So let's see what you guys are saying. Going back to your comments. Mesto says Bastoni 100%. Mattia says Bastoni. Diaz says Bastoni. Co-MVP. Maybe. My train is arriving soon. Going to leave. Yeah. Thank you, Navon. Have a nice Sunday. Dumfries 100%, 1000%. Lovro says. Loki says Dumfries without a doubt. Bastoni, Dumfries. It's very split, actually. Very split. I agree with Mattia. Yeah, Denzel got nerfed by signing late contract. Denzel Champions League and Bastoni Serie A. Dumfries, the Flying Dutchman in his prime, he made the real difference. Dumfries 100%. Bastoni is best in the world. Yeah, same. You guys know me on the channel. I like Denzel, but I also call him Brick Freeze a lot of the time. But the level that he stepped up to this year is chef's kiss. Can't be MVP with half of the season. Do a poll. This is basically like I like doing it like this because it's just just a visual representation. With the poll, I have to I'm gonna have to log into Google, into the YouTube, and I should do a poll really. You can say Dimarco MVP in that case. Yeah, exactly. Just because because we remember the end of the season more, and it's more visually in our minds the end of the season rather than the start of the season. You could say, if we swapped it around, but then Denzel wasn't that bad. It was like he had injury issues, and then Darmian was starting. It was Dimarco was stinking it up second half of the season. But I see what your point is. Dumfries was amazing, but Bastoni having Dimarco in his Flanders MVP, like they performed at the end when they mattered the most. Yeah. So the waiting, if you have a waiting, first half of the season is like 40%. Second half of the season is definitely more heavier in terms of the importance, right? You'd give it like 60% maybe second half of if you perform second half of the season in the competitions, probably worth more. But at the same time, especially in the league, if you perform big performances at the beginning, like we did last year in Serie A, guys, Lautaro basically disappeared after February because he scored all of his the MVP performance was done by December, January. Lautaro already did all this goal scoring and assists for Inter, and he was MVP of Serie A because it was job done by then. This season, because we were going right until the end, it was the end of the season was also very important, and Dumfries definitely stepped up. So he has that waiting. Yamal is getting Ballon d'Or shouts for 2 games. No, come on. Yamal is also getting shouts for his general. I know his goal and assist is quite low, Yamal, but his in La Liga as well, like the big games in La Liga, he was showing up as well. The big games that led to Barcelona winning the league. It's 11 goals as a right wing back is crazy. But then you have to be real, Shakir, like the amount of the time that Denzel is in the box, because as we're saying, Inzaghi used him correctly now. Denzel, either you only partake as right at the end of the action in the box. So he is a right wing back, but when you look at the average position for Inter. Denzel was always sometimes even higher than the striker. His average position is like a slanted 3-5-2, but then the right wing back Denzel is usually sometimes even higher than the strikers because that's the best way to play him. We finished the league early in the season last year. Don't tell the first half is not important. Yeah, exactly. So that was the argument for Denzel. Massive second half of the season. For Bastoni, I am leaning towards Bastoni, I'll be real. Look at that. In terms of, as well, this is another point towards Bastoni. Almost 1,000 more minutes than Denzel. Look at that, guys. Almost 1,100 minutes more than Denzel. Sorry, almost 1,000 minutes more than Denzel. Most minutes for the outfield player, which deserves credit with Bastoni. It surprised me. Like physically, we like to make fun of Bastoni on this channel. You know, sometimes he has this flu-like symptoms, little niggling injuries, never really plays back-to-back games or, 2 or 3 games max, and then he has to take 1 game off. But this season, he was a soldier, just going and going up until the end of the season. He was always there. Champions League, Coppa Italia, wherever it was, this guy was there all the time. Italy as well. Oh, thank you very much, Culture Ben. Leave a thumbs up. Appreciate you. Yeah, like even in the Champions League when we were rotating, Bastoni was still playing. Big games, big performances, big clean sheets in the Champions League. Club World Cup, he was decent as well. And then, yeah, in the league, there was that stat going around, right? Yeah, here it is. I know someone would have put it up. Every time Bastoni was subbed off, I think it's a little bit of it's too easy to use this stat because it became like, something to beat Inzaghi on the head with, because it was true, but it's also like we've conceded when Bastoni is also on the pitch, but it's the fact that, at the end of the game, Inzaghi definitely should have kept Bastoni on, even if he was yellow carded. Like, come on, bro. This is an experienced guy now. He's not a young Bastoni. He's a 25, 26-year-old. You can trust him to stay on the pitch. That Napoli game, for example. So the importance of Bastoni was elevated even more with this stat. But in general, the defense, I think defensively as well, I think this might have been one of the best seasons from Bastoni. Like, he was looking very mature, reading the game. No individual mistakes, really many. Like, I don't, off the top of my head, there might have been, but off the top of my head, I don't remember a big mistake from Bastoni. Individual, became a leader as well at the back. I think vocal. Yeah, on the ball, we don't need to speak about Bastoni on the ball. The chance creation, the ball playing ability, the switches of play. Yeah. How many ends the season with 6 assists, 2 goals, 6 assists. I think he can add the goals to his game, like some set piece goals here and there. That would be amazing if he can add that. I think this was the best season of Bastoni. I think he won the Serie A and Serie A best centre back as well. So I think that says a lot for Bastoni. I know Denzel has the aura this year, the Flying Dutchman. He hits different. I agree with that, but I am really, really leaning towards Bastoni. Yeah, exactly. No one would have guessed that Bastoni had the most, but that shows you that's the point. Consistency as well. Bastoni from minute 1 has been good. Obviously, as most of the Inter has had drop-offs, but for me, Alessandro Bastoni is MVP of the season. Yeah, maybe combat shows, maybe he regressed, but that was, I think, Inzaghi's football this season, or we weren't playing the same type of football this season, the level of football that we played. So his long passing and the switches of play maybe weren't as sharp as last season, but his overall play, like the way he was bringing the ball out of the back, like in terms of his dribbling as well, coming into midfield, the interplay between him and Dimarco and Mkhitaryan on the left at times, some of his crosses, some of his play. Like, I think maybe on the ball, it wasn't his best season, but I think defensively, which is a centre back, and that's what I want from my defender, I think this was his best season overall, consistency-wise, everything-wise, becoming more of a leader at Inter. Yeah, I think Serie A MVP, or we could do it like this. You see, no, actually, no. I don't think it's going to be a joint one. I think Alessandro Bastoni is going to be the Uncle Sharma channel MVP of the season. Dun, 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 dun. Here is the trophy. Congrats to Alessandro for winning this very prestigious trophy that in the past the likes of Acerbi, Lautaro Martinez have won. I think last season it was Lautaro who won it. Or Hakan. Was it Lautaro or Hakan? I can't remember now. We gave it to. The season before it was Acerbi, if I remember correctly. So who will it be next year? It will be interesting to see. But yeah, I'll give you guys, my laptop is still there. I'll give you guys one last chance. What's one player that needs to be moved? This is the final total ranking. Let me zoom out a little bit. These stupid, annoying ads are ruining everything. I'll give you guys one player to move that you disagree with. I like that we've got a lot of guys in the average category because there's just been ultimately a poor season by Inter, but then there still deserve to be some players high up because you don't get to, the end of 3 competitions by chance. Oh, Sucic next year. Let's see. Oh yeah, it would have been nice. This rank. They didn't have Zalewski in here, but he's only been there half a season. But I probably would. Yeah, I would have put Zalewski here if I had a chance. I would have put Zalewski in good. I think he had a good impact for the good category. Musin is really pushing for the Aslani to average, whereas Batia is pushing for Zielinski to ass. You guys know where I stand on this. I feel like Aslani in ass category is harsh for me. So I, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it as it is. I think everyone's happy like this. I'm not happy about Aslani here, but I'm gonna go with you guys because a lot of you guys said ass. So it is what it is. Yeah, but 2 games or 2 goals don't really save a midfielder's season combat shorts. His overall play just wasn't enough. Yeah, fair enough. Shakir. So Enrique deserves to be asked for yeah, probably. He is already Luis Enrique, we are already on fraud watch. I'll be real. I know that my scout report was kind of on the positive side, but Luis Enrique, unfortunately, we're already on fraud watch. Auxilio, we're on fraud watch already, brother. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. It ended up being a much longer stream than I thought. My laptop has played out. So yeah, look out for live streams. So I think one thing, yeah, I mean the live streams are more usually for the season, when the season starts, to be honest. Or if there's like some big news going on, or if I've missed news for a few days and I need to catch up with you guys. I think, yeah, the next few days, the content will be the same, Inter news for the next few days. And sell, keep, maybe I'll do a video on that, like what I would do, sell, keep. Or yeah, you guys let me know, should I do the sell, keep video, sell, loan, keep video as like live stream, or should I do it as a recorded video? Yeah, you guys comment down. Yeah, no. At the moment, Shakir, yeah, the first few outings from Luis Enrique looked very shaky, but again, he had no preseason. He had to come in straight into competitive game, so I'll go easy on him. But honestly, he just looks really like fish out of water at the moment. But yeah, I don't. It's too early to say. can't see any comments whether you guys want the sell keep loan video as a team depth chart. Yeah, we'll do team depth. Like once the transfer window ends, we'll do a team depth chart. Okay, do a live. All right, I'll do a live stream for that as well. Now that I know that my laptop can actually last. Thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate that. Alessandro Bastoni, MVP of the season. Denzel Dumfries just misses out. Shout out to Carlos Augusto. And yeah, this is the final rankings as agreed by the community. Appreciate you all. Look out for more live stream in the coming days. Ciao ragazzi. Always, Forza Inter. Forza Marotta League. It's coming back next season.